full team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Good now
Awesome.
that
Good
the work
Wednesday.
day is done.
Yeah, now that the workday is done, for sure.
Yeah.
So this is our post-draft reaction show. Wonderful draft highlights of our actually wonderful highlights of our draft prospects. So first things first, we had pick number 87. Zaire Brown. Yes, that we moved up for. Safety, Penn State. Thoughts, concerns? Maddie B, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I think it might be a tad bit frozen.
Okay, just making sure. No, I thought it was a good pick.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Maybe I should go?
Hi. Fred, Adele. Anyone? Bueller.
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 We can hear you somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat.
You're breaking
You
up.
aren't moving at all. No video.
Bueller.
Yes.
Bueller.
Okay, now we got you. Keep talking.
Okay, good. Well, if you can hear me, fine. Apparently my face is not there. No, not if I'm breaking up.
It's there, but it's frozen.
Okay, here we.
Your face is behind your voice, and now you're going completely.
Well, so take it away, Ty.
I'll take it over. Okay, Zaire Brown. We knew they would go safety. We kind of figured that. It was the one position of depth that we all discussed. You know, they need to address that, especially with Gibson is basically gone after this year. This will be his last year playing. So draft his replacement now. They went Zaire Brown. Physical safety, that's what they like. Guy who could do some hitting, come down in the box and play. They'll probably redshirt him this year, and do the same thing they did with Hufanga. Play him on unlimited bases and some packages just to get his feet wet, get him up to speed, and see what he does. He looks like a ball player. We know he can hit. That's what they like. They like guys who can go in the box and tackle. His coverage remains to be seen. He does some good things and some bad things. So hopefully Wilkes will work on him with that. But overall, solid pick. A guy that they were targeting clearly because they traded up for him.
My thoughts exactly like we wouldn't have traded up for him if we didn't like something about him and think he has a really good high upside. So, we're so late in the pick range of the draft that if we're trading up for somebody, there's something about him that we really, really liked and wanted to go after. Otherwise, why not wait till 99? So I really think there must be something they really liked, or we wouldn't have traded. 3 picks.
There was a report that came. No, I'm sorry. There was a report that came out that some teams had like a low second round grade on him. So he was highly thought of. And you can see the Niners were like, all right, this guy's still lingering around. Let's go get him.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, yeah.
Do you think he can contribute on special teams?
Yeah.
Probably.
He's athletic enough and, loves to hit. he can tackle. So, yeah, they'll put him out there.
I think he's had quite a bit of interceptions, too.
That's the one statistic I saw, Jess, that I thought was pretty interesting. Like he had the highest number of interceptions of all the cornerbacks in the draft. So, he seems to have a good eye for the ball, and maybe that's what really was attractive to the Niners, and they think they can develop that or something. So we'll see, But I thought that was a key statistic on his, overall profile.
Yeah, right up on. They said he does attack the ball in the air, which is a good thing.
Right. And I also agree with you, Ty, as far as Steve Wilkes, him being a secondary guru, working with him, working with the entire secondary, really, like Talano Hufanga, Moody Ward, Lenore, Womack, Ambry Thomas, who I think a lot of people has lost faith in. All right, so we move to pick number 99, Jake Moody, kicker, Michigan.
Many people gave us an F for that draft. And I say that draft pick, like I've literally seen us rank last, giving us F grades for picking him. And I say F them when he makes a 62-yarder to send us into the playoffs or some key game. They're going to change their tune. We need a kicker. It's not a sexy pick. So we got socks and underwear for Christmas. Like that's our lot in this draft. We didn't have first, second round choices. We're third round draft. Look, we got our big gift in the free agency. Your birthday and Christmas are close together. Sorry, kids. Here's your good gift. Here's your socks and underwear this time. They're necessary. You need them. They're essentials. And we need a kicker. Sorry. That's how I feel about it. It's a solid choice. The guy's got a boot, and he's great, and he's consistent, and he's accurate. And, yeah, it's a good choice.
As Kyle Shanahan said, it may be an anticlimactic pick because for 6 seasons we had Robbie Gould, and Robbie Gould being the elite kicker that he is. Yeah. But if we didn't have Robbie Gould for 6 seasons and we struggled in the kicking position, everyone would be excited for the pick.
Yep. Exactly.
And head over heels.
Where's Robbie? Robbie apparently is now doing a Chicago Bears podcast because he's not picked up by anyone and no one's signing him. So we have to do something. I agree with the choice. It's not sexy, but hey, not lingerie. You get socks and underwear.
Well, time out. No matter what your outfit is, you need socks and underwear.
Yeah.
Right?
Who the hell's giving me lingerie?
Liability. You know what I mean?
Really, I'm confused.
Matt's walking in like, wait a minute, we're talking lingerie and socks and underwear.
I fixed my Wi-Fi for this. What are we doing?
Welcome to the show.
Did I hit the wrong button for stream?
Wow.
You pop in at the wrong time at this show.
Talking about Robbie Gould.
You never know what's going on.
Jake Moody
Never
in
know.
the draft, and I had said that like we got lots of F grades and people weren't happy that we drafted, Jake Moody, and I was like, look, sometimes you get socks and underwear. You need the necessities. It's not a sexy pick, but it is what it is. You're not always getting lingerie.
It's 100% true. Like you're not like I can't.
You can't even say it. That's how true it is.
As soon as I say a word, I'm like,
gone again. Nat, are you at a loss for words?
Right?
That's not
like how spoiled are we as fans, though, that like we can be mad that they took a kicker in the 3rd round with a bonus pick that they really shouldn't have even had.
Free money.
Free money.
Free money.
And look, Bill Belichick, they were 4th round, they took a kicker. So they probably got some type of intel like, hey, someone's on the move for a kicker. And, I forget the guy who they selected, but yeah, I thought it was a good pick.
Yeah.
I did too. They were showing when they were talking about him and showing the film and him just booting these 62-yarders and his ability to just kick and talking about his consistency and being a college guy with those kinds of stats already as a kicker. I think that bodes well for him as long as he can keep his head straight and somehow find the Robbie Gould magic, voodoo magic to have that like give 0 F's about getting out there and doing your warm-ups and not having anything get in your headspace ever. As long as he can channel a little bit of that Robbie Gould energy and be able to make the hard kicks when the times are tough, then good for us. Like I think he's a solid pick. You can't, I don't know. It's kind of my favorite pick of the draft, really, because I think kickers are essential to winning. You know, how many times have you seen games decided on a field goal, or these come down to these essential. It's a must make extra point or a kick or something, and we have to have those players. And as much as they're not, the big money guys, they're essential. So it's the socks and underwears of the team. But my goodness, you gotta have a good pair of socks, man.
Yeah, everyone loves a good pair of socks and underwear.
The socks are not.
Right?
Unless you're
explaining to the people who keep coming in while we're talking.
Right.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
We're talking kickers.
They always have dirty wear, right? When you go out, or broken underwear, like whatever it is. I don't know if you could call it broken underwear, but you want stuff that's in good shape. So yeah, sometimes you got to replenish that. That means you get it at Christmas. So be it. That's how it works. Yeah. And the draft is kind of Christmas. So that's how it works here. Yeah. Right?
Well, that's what I said.
They traded up. They got a safety.
They got our good gift in the free agency.
They got a really good safety. So
Yes. What did you think of Jair Brown, besides being a really good safety, Maddie?
Ball hawking ability. Like, that's what I want. Like, he has a nose for the ball. Also got some good leadership qualities as well. Went to a good program, in terms of competitiveness, in terms of leadership, in terms of anything else. I think if you can thrive there, you can thrive just about anywhere. I think he has a football IQ and the pedigree to play here. And they thought highly enough of him to trade 2 other picks for him, right? So
exactly.
That's what I said too. We thought enough to trade, to get him. So
this is the perfect thing. This is the no-lose draft, right? We don't trust that they're going to do the right thing in the first and second round. We don't, but we trust that they're going to find some. They're going to find some gold or some diamonds in the 3rd through 7th, right? So why don't we just load up on 3rd through 7 and take our friggin' chances, right?
Because keep trading the back day, when we have those 1st and 2nds.
cheaper money. If you can, it's just like deal. It's if you can get the same product, $1 million that you can get for 4.3, why wouldn't you just take the $1 million, right? That way you can spend it on another thing. Your pillars.
Well, I think your odds increase, as
to steal a Rams term,
right? To some extent.
Ty, what'd you think about the Jake Moody pick?
I love it. Like we all know, it was the one position of need on this team that we really needed to get. Moody, by all accounts, was rated as the number 1 kicker in the draft. So why not take him with a free money pick? Right? That's basically, these comp picks basically bleed over into the 4th round. So he's really like a 4th round pick. And it's a free money pick. So do it. Get the guy you absolutely need. We know where he comes from. He's kicked in windy Michigan with the flags blowing like this. Wisconsin, Nebraska, places like that. Okay, so he's got a pedigree kicking in tricky wind. He could go to Levi. The wind tends to be a little swirly there. Mm-hmm. He can learn and handle it. And then we go on the road to places like Seattle. He can handle it there as well. And he's got the leg to kick the long field goals that we know. Here's the key, and we talked about this on the show. When Brian Schottenheimer wants to use his strategy of kick it short to let the team return it, and we try to pin them inside the 20, he has enough strength in his leg to get the ball up high and get more hang time on it. That allows the kicking unit to get downfield faster to pin those guys in. That's key. We know he could kick it out the back of the end zone, but we know Schottenheimer loves to institute that strategy. Kick it high and right in front of the goal line, and we'll try to pin him deep. This kid can do that. Yep. So it was an absolute great pick from all those accounts.
Even though many, many people gave us an F grade on that.
Yeah.
And I say F them, because when he wins the game for us, it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those people, those very people will be like, oh, that pick was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, love it.
Mhm.
yeah.
Go
Um
Moody. They'll be buying his jersey.
what's
Hey,
up,
Tony.
Hey.
Hey, Bryant. We're talking kickers, y'all. Welcome to the show.
Hey, yes.
And socks and underwear.
Yes.
Socks and underwear edition.
Exactly.
Not sexy lingerie, but
We're going to change the title of the show.
To socks and underwear.
That's right.
That is how our
welcome to
draft
socks
is
and underwear.
rated. Our draft was, socks and underwear.
All right. At 101, we picked Cameron Latu, tight end out of Alabama. Maddie B, your thoughts?
He's deep in thought right now.
Real deep
Rebecca,
in
why
thought.
don't you
He's
take
real
this one?
deep in frozen thought. Boxers or briefs,
Briefs.
whatever's most comfortable to you, I
Nope.
guess. Oh, we lost Maddie again.
Go ahead, Ty. Take this one.
Cameron Latu. We knew tight end was going to get picked,
Yeah.
right? And they went after a guy who kind of fits the mold of what they really want. Big, can be physical,
Yeah.
can catch the ball. I mean, George Kittle is 6'5", 250. This kid goes 6'4", 240. He's right there with him, right? You can really see what they want to do. We're going with these two tight end sets.
Yeah.
Where which one of these big guys are you going to guard, especially in the red zone? This kid is a red zone threat just with his size. And I think we can easily see him being tight end number 2. I've heard nothing but good things about him from Alabama fans who watched him. They said he's good in the run game at the point of attack and blocking. That's important. So, and we know George Kittle invited him to his tight end university, which is also great. So I'm pretty sure George has some input on, hey, this kid will be able to play in our offense. So I like it.
Do you think he, beats out Ross Dwelly and Charlie Warner?
I
Yes.
think he can. Yeah, go ahead, Rebecca. You take that one.
Everything I've seen is saying he's tight end number 2. They like him that much that he is that well liked that he's ranked right now and everything I've seen as tight end number 2. In fact, Dwelly is like last in the 5 tight end pecking order. I mean, and we all know Ross Dwelly does not block quite as well as the Niners would like him to. He does not do that. He doesn't catch well, and so everything that I see has Charlie Warner tight end 3 and Willis as 4. I think I wrote it down. the tight ends, I wrote them all down. I was like, nope, I've got to. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of excitement around the Latu pick that he could be like the George Kittle 2.0 kind of guy. So, or at least a mini version of that. Which, if we get a mini version of George Kittle, like we're winning, especially getting him at that late, pick in the draft. So, yeah, I think there's a good upside to him. We're excited.
I even think Braden Willis goes before Charlie Warner too.
Oh, you think he? Yeah. They have Warner above Willis in most things that I saw. But hey, you never know. Like people are hungry. They go out there and they Brock Purdy someone and surprise you.
That's true. And this
So,
team
yeah.
has competition.
Hold on, Willis. We're going to get to him. He's lower in the draft.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Hold on,
Yeah, we're gonna get to him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie, welcome back.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Welcome back. Doo-doo.
We are
Same
talking
old
Cameron
place
Latu.
that you laughed
We moved
about.
on from socks.
You
and
young people don't know
underwear.
anything about that.
What? Why is there so much contempt for this pick out there in the Twitterverse? Everybody's all mad about it. I don't get it.
About
Suppose
Latu?
that this is to me this seems
I
like a
think
deep
people are
tight
more
end
mad at this
draft.
pick than the Jake Moody pick.
Yes.
They were.
Yes.
That is true.
I didn't
And
see
I-
that.
I don't know why.
I guess I don't understand. I guess I'm hanging out in the wrong Twitter part of town again. But like, I guess I don't understand it. You're taking a guy who played for Alabama. Like, I feel like he's probably knowing what's going on, right? I feel like he's
Okay.
going to fit. Not every Alabama player is perfect, but like, I feel like that's going to give him a leg up. I want somebody like that. And we'll talk about the kid from Georgia later. But like, I don't know. I like the pick. And if it doesn't work, they took a kid in the 6th round. Like, I guarantee one of those 2 tight ends is going to hit. I don't know which one, but one of them will. And if it's like the Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell thing, like, do we really care? Right?
Exactly.
Are we all like,
Exactly.
wow, they can't draft because they drafted Trey Sermon in the 3rd and Elijah Mitchell in the 6th? No, nobody gives a rat's ass.
If
But,
they're going to perform highly and do their job, then
Right.
I don't care when we pick them.
Whoever performs best gets to play. That's how this
Wins the
works.
job. Yeah.
Right.
Amen
The
to
pick
that.
is the pick. You have to do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
they
it.
They get the sexy underwear instead of the socks.
Exactly. Like, I feel
They
like
get
these guys are,
lingerie. They don't get socks
Right.
and underwear.
Steve-O says socks.
absolutely. Yes, 100%.
All right, baby. Comfy socks.
Hey, sometimes it's socks, sometimes it's lingerie, but you gotta go. Yeah, can't always have everything all the time.
All right. So now at pick 155, we have Darrell Luter, the cornerback from South Alabama. Becca, you want to take this one?
I just feel like it's somewhat filling the cupboard. We need to backfill some positions. Cornerback is in the secondaries, a position we needed to fill. We've got to replenish some of these players we lost and backfill the guys that are starting with extra players. We didn't have high draft picks, so we're stuck in these later rounds, just picking the best guy available. That's how I feel about some of these later round picks. That look, they're going to pick the best guy that's out there, and we're going to try to utilize him to the best of our ability. I mean, we're starting to get into the 5th and 6th rounds, and it's where sometimes we manage to find gold, right? Like, that's what we do. We go mining and we find the diamonds in the rough. And I feel like whatever we pick in these later rounds, they're typically solid picks for the Niners. And sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. But generally speaking, I'm at this point in the draft, I always feel like I'm not that in tune to the guys that they're picking. I'm not watching every player in the draft, and I stuck in the draft when I have tried to do like the mock drafts. Like, you get into these later rounds, like it's anybody's. Like, just throw the cards in the air and pick somebody up off the ground, because sometimes it doesn't always make sense. And I don't know. I think whatever we picked, these later rounds, we're just filling the cupboard with potential guys that can really, really step in and be the next man up. And we seemingly have done a great job of that in the last, since John Lynch has taken over, and our management team has had their say. I don't know. I think it remains to be seen, like a lot of these later round picks, what potential they have and what they can do. I don't know enough about these guys at this point to really say whether I think it's going to be a good pick or not.
Ty, do you think he replaces somebody?
No, he's a backup. He'll be a backup, but I think he'll be a part of that rotation. From what I read about him, he plays zone very well, which we know we like to do. He can fill in there. I like his size and his length. The dude is 6 foot and just long and rangy. He's got very long arms. He said he likes to get his hands on the ball, get some PBUs, which we like. So he'll definitely be a backup in that development role that, knock on wood, someone goes down, he can step in and fill in. And it's just like Rebecca said, we're kind of thin in the backup cornerback position. Like, you don't know which guy is going to be, cornerback number 3 or 4 right now. So let's bring in a young, aggressive guy with some length that can potentially be that person.
Maddie, thoughts?
I just think it's a good move. You're going for a mature kid who can play aggressively and do the things that you want to do. And with the draft picks, if they don't do well, it's not really a huge cap hit. You move on with your life, right? And then you find somebody who can, whether it's an undrafted free agent that ends up playing better or somebody like that. Kid played tough, and they really, really liked his maturity. And sounds to me like they did their homework on him, and he's going to fit in. So I'm all for it. And it seems like they do pretty well in the 5th round.
Yep. I forgot he was a senior, and he played all 4 years. So that bodes well for him.
And John Lynch also, he stressed a lot about his maturity and how just of a grown man he sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He spoke highly of him, and I think, John having a favorable opinion probably played heavily in the pick.
Yeah, and
As it
another yeah. And I see another key special teamer, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be.
Next up, pick 173, Robert Beal Jr., D-line, Georgia. Maddie, go ahead.
The only Georgia guy that Philly didn't take, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
They're probably upset about that.
right.
Yep.
Like we broke up the collection, right? We got the one that they didn't. Everything that I read, he's going to eat off the edge. So my guess is he's going to spend. If he hits the ground running and doesn't hit the Drake Jackson wall, he may be able to play the whole year and do the things that I think Ebukam was doing last year and Kerry Hyder was doing the year before that from the other side. I think he has that type of talent and ability because he doesn't have to worry about other assignments. They can just let him play edge. And I believe one of the analyses I read was let him eat. So I think he'll be fine. I think it's a good pick. And again, if it doesn't, whatever, it's a low round pick. Take your losses and you move on. Oops.
For the Eagles,
Like,
he was the one that
great
got
stuff.
away.
Yep.
I had to. Chris Kocurek said that he has that GTFO, that acronym. So that's very
right.
good.
Yes.
If he's saying
High
that,
engine, high motor.
for sure.
And I think they like that because it's very Nick Bosa-esque.
Ty, what do you think?
This is our D Ford replacement, potentially. Guy, high motor, quick, can just get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
We all know he's not going to start or anything like that, but he'll probably definitely be in the rotation, especially as part of that NASCAR package where it's 3rd and long. We know they're passing, and it's just like, son, get in there and just go get the quarterback. Just bend
Somebody's
that
got to
edge.
come for a tire rotation.
Exactly.
Substitute for a couple rounds.
Exactly. You just got one
Just
job.
make it around
Go
the
in
track
there.
once or twice while we're
Yep.
fixing this.
Yeah, use your speed, go hunt the quarterback. And that's who this guy is. So and I'm sure Chris Kocurek is rubbing his hands like he hasn't had that since D Ford. So now he's going to do some things with them.
Yeah.
So I like the pick. We needed speed off the edge. He fills that role.
I don't know if you guys heard the phone call of Chris Kocurek actually speaking to him on the phone. It's pretty cool. I like listening to those.
I watched most of them. I don't know if I saw that one. I might have, but I tend to like to watch those two because they're just so excited and it's just so fun.
Yeah, for sure. Becca, what do you think?
No, I agree. I think, he's young, he's hungry, and they see a really good upside to him, and let the management team, really, really develop him. If he's got a high motor and an engine, and they're going to let him try to fly, then goodness, go for it. take that young talent and really, develop it. But again, we're in these later rounds, so this is where we tend to find I think our diamonds in the rough.
Yep.
And hopefully our talent team is as good as they've been recently, and we end up with somebody who can really, really play at a high level.
All right, this next pick, I'm excited about. Pick 216, D Winters, linebacker, TCU.
Mhm.
Super fast, a la Dre Greenlaw. Ty, what do you think?
Fits the MO, right? Undersized linebacker. Used to play a little DB in high school. Can run, cover, hit. He fits the MO. I think he's like just at 6 feet or maybe a little bit under, 225 pounds, but just lightning quick. A guy who can get after it, run sideline to sideline. You use him on blitz packages. He can get upfield in a hurry. He's explosive. I think you're going to see him on the field a lot, potentially. I'm excited to see what they do with him and how he develops and where he lands on the depth chart. Because aside from Oren Burks, the linebackers past that, linebacker 4, 5, 6, we don't know who that is. This guy could easily be number 4 when the season starts, based on his potential. So he's exciting to watch. He's going to be exciting to watch come OTAs and training camp.
I also like Marcelino McCrary Ball, though.
I do too.
I think he has good upside. I mean,
It's going to be a good battle between them guys. But McCrary Ball is another one. I love a short, undersized kind of linebacker, but used to play DB, converted, lightning quick, explosive. Like, it's going to be fun to watch those guys battle.
Yeah, for sure. Maddie, what do you think?
Fits the Fred Warner profile, right? Really at the end of the day. Experienced safety, bulked up to play linebacker. Again, good in a great 40 time too. Like, this is a team that has been burned by speed before. We've seen it over and over and over again. Sometimes not even very good speed. So you got somebody that can clean up some messes sometimes because of a wrong scheme or an overplay. Can't fault that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people that actually have him ahead of Marcelino in the depth chart, just out of the box. I think primarily because of his speed. So it'll be fun to watch how training and the depth chart starts to develop.
Yeah,
but they have him in most cases linebacker 4 or 5 ahead of Marcelino McCrary Ball, but we'll see how that all plays out.
Another team leader type too. He was a captain on that good TCU team.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, smart football guy. Yeah. That's also, I think, an edge in his favor too. He's just a really solid guy in his position.
All right, pick 247, Braden Willis, tight end, Oklahoma.
Well, first off, I'm excited because when he does anything good, we can say, "What you talk about, Willis?" Right? So that is step one in the entire thing.
There we go. Because the conversation's over.
Right.
That's it.
So that's one, and we can just put that one up on the board and put all that, just set that right there. But in the meantime, with everything else that happened, it's another good depth pick, right? Like, this team didn't need to go out and find a starter right away. And when they did need to go out and find a starter, whether it be a kicker or possibly a safety, they decided to go out and get that person, right? Braden Willis, like, if he replaces Charlie Werner, I think that's probably their best case scenario. Odds are if he plays on the practice squad, so be it. What if he ends up better than Latu, right? Like, again, we talked about that Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell thing with the 3rd and the 6th round. Sometimes these guys that get drafted in the 6th round
could have been drafted in the 3rd round. It's just it didn't. That's just not how the boards panned out and how things were going. This draft was really weird. You had a bunch of quarterbacks go all at one time. You had a bunch of tight ends go all at one time. All the tackles basically went at one time. It was really bizarre. It was like
it was runs on positions. Yeah.
And I heard
it was like watching a bunch of people.
Ever, like the most trades ever in a draft. Like more trades happen in this draft than ever before. So a lot of movement for, I think, skill positions.
You can trade the comp picks now. So ever since they open up that move to trade comp picks, this has been the MO. People move up when they can and do things. But Willis, again, another guy who you're starting to see a pattern here. Played a good competitive program, right? And has the measurables. And if he ends up on the practice squad, oh well, right? Try again next year. But my guess is he's going to end it. My guess is these guys, they think these 2 guys can beat out Werner and Dwelley. That's my thought.
That's where I was going to say. I see a lot of people put them not necessarily ahead of Charlie Werner, but definitely ahead of Ross Dwelley.
Ty, what do you think?
Yeah, I see this kid making the team. Like, okay, so we know when Juice goes down, one of the tight ends has to play fullback. This kid can do that. He is a blocking machine.
Big blocker, right?
He gets low. He gets after it. He gets nasty. This kid can do that. That's why I say Warner and Dwelley on notice, because in the blocking department, I see him easily outperforming them right out the gate. And
I said it, Dwelley's on notice. He, you don't like to block. Your catching is subjective, subpar most days. So I think Dwelley is that guy that might surprise some people getting cut or whatever. But I think these 2 guys are gonna outperform him.
Yeah, and
there's also go ahead.
He can catch also. He's the hands catcher. He gets his hands up, brings it in. We know Kyle likes to use the fullback out the backfield, or take that fullback, put him in motion, put him next to Kittle, and form like a 2 tight end set, make it look like a run play, and send them both out in the pattern. Like, this kid can excel at that. And like I said, I think he makes the team based on what he can do. He's not fleet of foot like others, but man, his skill set is something exactly what Kyle wants, and he definitely has a role on the team.
Well, I think that was one thing I saw that they highlighted the most was just his blocking ability and his ability to do that, and I think that makes me.
I hear you, David. Keep the hats clean.
Listen, the hat life matters.
That's right.
I have an order for like 4 new ones. It's like so sad. I'm like, what am I doing? Why do I need to order more hats?
There's also somebody else who can play fullback as well. He's actually undrafted, but we'll get to him in a little bit. Anybody else on Braden Willis? All right. Pick 253, Ronnie Bell, wide receiver, Michigan. Go ahead, Becca.
I think he's probably deep in the depth chart. I don't see him outperforming our already top 5. We have like 12. I don't even know how many wide receivers we have at this point. But I mean, come on, it's Debo, it's Brandon, it's Jawan, it's Ray, it's Danny. We've got already a deep depth chart in the wide receiver position. I mean, at best he's there. Whether he makes the 53 or he's on the practice squad or not, I think he's there. He's there for a reason. But I mean, he's got some stiff competition if he's going to make the 53. I think it's, a decent pick to bring him in because, people get hurt all the time. But my goodness. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about how many wide receivers we have right now. Like, it's crazy to me how many we have.
I think I see him like in a Ray McLeod role.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see that too, but like there's just so many people at this point. I'm like, I don't know where he fits in.
And we actually just signed a wide receiver today from, I think, East Carolina,
I
Isaiah
saw
Winstead.
that.
Yeah.
Another one. I was like, okay, we're just going to let them all gladiator style battle in the and may the best man win. Good for us. It's a good problem to have.
That's true. Competition at every
raises the bar, right? Raises the level
position
for everyone.
Yes.
So yeah,
definitely. Maddie, what do you think?
Kid looks like he could be a core special teamer. I saw some Matthew Slater comparisons out there for the kid, which would be perfect, especially for somebody like that. And like, if he sticks, I don't care where he plays, right? Like, not all these wide receivers will always stick around. That's not always how it works. And how many times do we have running backs? It seems like we have too many running backs, and then we don't have any running backs, right? Like, injuries just seem to pick on one position, and that's where it is. So they have some depth there, great. And everything that it seemed like he was asked to do in college, he was able to do, right? And that's kind of one thing that you're looking at, right? Like, all right, if he can do that in college, maybe he can do that in the pros. So if he can return, if he can down punts inside the 5, happiness. If he can develop, I could see a possible like Trent Sherfield comparison here a little bit in terms of kind of starting on special teams and then making contributions on the offense and then going somewhere else and getting paid to go do it somewhere else.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's a football player in my eyes. Like, he's a guy with good hands, not the fastest guy, but knows the receiver position, has good body control, knows how to sit in the zone. He's a perfect slot guy, in my opinion. Like, knows how to find holes in the zone, sit there, give his quarterback a target, can also get downfield a little bit and just make contested catches. So we know Kyle likes those little gritty receivers. I wonder why. So it might be just hard for him to break the roster, seeing as how our top 4 guys are set. So like, is he going to compete against Danny Gray? Is he going to compete against someone else who may be there? There's just so many guys. So he's going to be an interesting one to watch to see, how he develops. And if he doesn't make the roster, I can easily see him on the practice squad because they clearly like him. They brought him in for a visit before the draft, met with him, and picked him up. So.
Yeah, depth chart's going to be hard to overcome is what I think too. Like, our wide receiver depth chart's already pretty stout at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Unless someone goes down with injury, then I think he gets an opportunity, but otherwise it's going to be tough to break that.
There's going to be a competition anyway, but I'm curious to see him and Danny Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an opportunity there, but Danny Gray probably gets the edge for already being a veteran. But yeah, he could certainly outperform and move up.
All right, and our last pick, 255, Jalen Graham, linebacker, Purdue. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, another guy who get after it, tackle. I think he played some DB as well, like another one of those converts. Like, I think he's originally a safety, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you may be right.
Yeah, and converted to linebacker, just like McCrary Ball, just like Fred Warner. So he fits the MO. And they just love those athletic linebackers. He's a little undersized. And I saw they sometimes get us out of position when tackling, but that can be taught up. So he's just another guy for the special teams coverage unit and to be backup. So I don't mind it. 7th round pick. Like, let's get it.
What do you think, Maddie?
Same deal. Just another, like, it seems like what they did was they decided we're going to take our type of player at each position for each one that we're going to do, and somebody's going to pan out and somebody's not. We're just going to play the odds, right? Because that's just the way it works sometimes, whether it's health, whether it's system, whether it's coaching, whether it's development, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just skill. Whatever it is there. Purdue, yet another good program. They play in a competitive conference. This kid started off as a 6'2", 185-pound safety. Now he's a 6'3", 220-pound linebacker, right?
There you go.
So he's probably going to add, I'm guessing, probably 5 to 10 more pounds. And now, if you do, that linebacker position really did need depth. Like, if Dre Greenlaw had been out for an extended period of time, Fred Warner out for an extended period of time, and there's no Aziz Al-Shire there to pick up that slack, that's a lot to ask of Marcelo McCray-Ball and some of the other guys in there as well, Flanagan Fowles, etc. I like this move I thought that was one of the positions that really needed more depth, and they looked at it. It wasn't just, they treated linebacker and tight end very similarly after they they also realized they help on the defensive line. So they went after defensive line help in free agency, right? The best defensive line help in free agency.
Yep.
And then they came through in the draft and took the other depth that they had missed in free agency. So linebacker and tight end. And they got their kicker, their dream kicker, right? So, which they also have a veteran on the roster already. So if it doesn't work with Jake Moody, so it just seems to me like they hit home. They hit solid doubles each round, single base hits, doubles each one.
Yep.
Not all of them are going to score and get all the way around the bases, but let's say they hit 40% out of 9 picks, right? Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. All you want to do is try to get these guys into their second contracts with us at not a bad price. Or if they're not going to be the next thing, if they're not him, for example, like they're going to be a Mike McGlinchey or a Laken Tomlinson. They're going to get the next deal from somebody else during free agency in 4 years. So they've got quite a system built up. It's amazing what you can do with a little consistency, and you're not switching head coaches every year, huh? Isn't it wild?
Yeah. Life is good.
No doubt.
I've seen a lot of people say that the players we drafted are more for the 2024 season as opposed to playing now, with the exception of Jake Moody. Would you agree?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it was designed to fill the cupboard. We didn't have early round draft picks. We didn't have the sexy picks to pick like the guy that's going to start tomorrow. We just don't have that. We didn't have that. We don't necessarily need that in many places. Would it be nice? Yeah, but no, I think, we picked, that's why we're like ranked last in almost every ranking in the draft, because we didn't start till the 3rd round. So we're not going to have high marks, and frankly, we didn't need to draft in the highest rounds. We ended up at the highest end of the draft for a reason, and we did well for ourselves. I think we chose well in free agency, and then we backfilled positions, and it all remained to be seen. We've got great quarterbacks already, on staff and in the cupboard, and here for competition, and so we'll see how it all goes down. But I think we set ourselves up for success. That's what the draft is about. So I think we did ourselves well. It doesn't necessarily look good on paper. It doesn't necessarily look good we picked the best guy available. No, we picked what we needed, and sometimes that's what you have to do. It's not sexy. You get socks and underwear.
It. The socks and underwear draft.
Sometimes you go to the grocery store
Yeah.
It's flour,
Sometimes you go to the
sugar,
grocery
and
store
eggs.
and you
It's
do
not.
not.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
The cool shit.
You're not getting steak,
It's the
just flour,
staples,
sugar, and
man.
eggs.
Staples.
Did you freeze again, Maddie? Oh.
It's I was gonna
He's
say
doing a robot.
it's
Oh, no.
dehydrated milk, right? Sometimes it's that.
Hey, it's powdered milk for the winter.
Sometimes it's exactly. It could be that. Sometimes it's just bread. So
It's the
Little bread and butter.
essentials you save for the cold winter months when you can't grow
Exactly.
your vegetables.
Going to the store to pick up some cereal. Done.
Let's stock up for the winter,
Yep.
the cold months.
Yep.
I don't have toilet paper. If you don't have toilet paper, you're going to be really upset. If you don't have a kicker, you're going to be really upset. Remember when we ran out of quarterbacks? We were all really upset, right? Like, haven't we learned our lesson? Like,
But I mean, quarterback is a luxury item. The staples are kickers. Like, you got to have a kicker,
Mhm.
that someone who can put it through the uprights. Like, remember when Robbie was hurt and we were like, oh, squinty eyed watching.
Oh, and we had Chase McLaughlin who kicked it into the tunnel.
right.
Yep.
So the F grade on the kicker pick. I mean, I don't get why people are mad and upset that we took a highly ranked guy. Like, he's a good kicker. We need a kicker. What do you want us to do? Of course, we need socks. I'm sorry, it's New Jersey in the winter. We gotta have socks. Sorry, people. Yeah, sometimes they're essential. Socks are essential. You just have to have.
Essential. Yep.
It's like a good bra. I'm gonna put it out there. You cannot live your life without a good bra. Just the end of the discussion right there. Jake is the good bra of life. You will get through everything you need to get through with a good bra and a good kicker. I'm just saying. That's
All the
not
support
like,
That's
you
going
need.
on social.
so the people that gave us an F, I say, whatever. If that's your size, order it. Fine. If that's your cup size, get your F size and be fine. But if you're a D, an A, B, or C, then fine. Go order your size.
There
He's
you go.
good,
Ty, this is
and
the
he's
clip that
great.
we have to post.
This definitely going on.
It'd be great for us.
Good
And
bra
for
of
you to
life.
give us an F, so be it. If it's an A, B, C, or a D, we don't care. If he's making them through the upright when we need him to make the kick, then have at it.
There you
But
go.
we need a kicker. We had to have a kicker. We picked a kicker. If it's an F grade to you, it might be an A for the rest of us, or a G, or whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Yeah. This
Yeah,
draft.
people are definitely mad about the Moody pick and
Yeah.
Latu.
I did not see one person post a nice thing. Like, everybody was like, we picked the kicker.
Twitter was an absolute dumpster fire after we picked a kicker, and then we went with Cameron Latu.
I went on for a hot minute. I was like, nope. I'm out. Just
And I
people.
have a lot of
Yeah.
words like muted too, and I saw
You
everything.
still saw a lot.
It was
It's
bad.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Before
but
we get to the undrafted,
we talked about this though. This team returned 19 of 22 starters.
Mhm.
The 3 that was missing were addressed, via free agency or somebody already on the roster.
Right.
So we weren't a team of need like other teams. Like, other teams needed a tight end, they needed an offensive lineman, they needed positions. The only position we needed really was kicker.
right.
So we took the
We
best one
needed
available.
Socks and underwear, man. We
Exactly.
do not need new boots and coats and
Yeah.
hats and scarves, and
Every
we
every
need
other
all the essentials, man. We needed to, one
every
thing.
every other position was just backup.
Just all
They're
backup
all
stuff.
backups. Guys we can develop that'll be on the team, mix in with the veterans, and they can be veterans down the road. They can have big roles down the road. That's what it's all about. So we're sitting pretty in a good position where we can get these guys. They don't have to do much right away. We can develop them properly, play behind the vets, and then soon they'll get their opportunity.
Amen to that.
Facts right there. Definitely agree. Before we get to the undrafted and the rest of the stuff that I have to talk about, want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Thanks for dropping in, and hello to everyone who are watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe to us, the East Coast Red and Gold, aka Socks and Underwear.
Socks and Underwear show.
Yes. The unsexy draft this year. Us, on the other hand, we are the lingerie of podcasts. I mean, come on.
That's right.
We are all that.
100%.
We'll just throw that out there.
Look at all this collarbone skin I'm showing.
Oh, right? I'm gonna flip my hair to my hair towel.
Dress code.
Woo! Killing it over here. We are.
Dress
I'm
code
gonna get a message from
violations.
Larry.
Speaking of, iesportsradio.com is where you can find the Patreon tiers and all that fun stuff. I mean, it's been around for 8 years. Why not make it 8 more, right? Maybe we can put some like ankle socks and some calf socks in that drawer, right? iesportsradio.com.
Best of
/
both
East Coast
worlds.
Red and Gold.
That's right.
All right. Our undrafted guys.
Yep.
Not sure if you guys saw the list, but two of my favorites out of this list are Jack Coletto, who's another Swiss Army knife, which is the one who could also play fullback, and also Joey Fisher. He is a mean man.
Yeah, that's the one I sort of earmarked was Joey Fisher. Really fast.
Lyman. Yeah.
He is. He's from Shepherd University. And then we have Avery Young, the DB from Rutgers, who I like as well.
Local kid.
Can't go wrong with Rutgers Raw, baby.
Yep.
Hey, and Jair's a Trenton boy, so
That's right.
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
Jersey boy.
boy's a
Yep.
Trenton guy. So
Yep.
East Coast is repping on the Niners.
That's right. So what else you guys think about the undrafted guys?
You also just they seem really excited about a lot of these guys, and they seem to be very surprised that a lot of those guys are here. Joey Fisher from Shepherd was like the huge darling, and like it always seems to me like every year there's some small school lineman that's like, how did they not get drafted?
Yeah.
How did he get taken so low? And
Matt, you sound like a pirate right now.
I know.
You're breaking
And his
up
face
a
is frozen that way.
And no, I think what he was trying to say is they're really excited about a lot of these guys, and some of them are surprises that they didn't get drafted, and always with the undrafted guys, I always feel like they're the most hungry and the most out to prove themselves, and you know, if you're ever going to have like the most gain on your return, it's
Yep.
that's, you know, the cup runneth over. So if there are guys who didn't get drafted and maybe were close, maybe, you know, what for whatever reason didn't get to have the big combine day or you know, school pro day, there's so many guys probably, you know, the competition I feel like at that level is so tight that you bring a bunch of guys in and you let them compete and make the best guy win, and it's only good for us. So all these guys that they brought in, you know, it's good for us because they're there to compete. They're going to give every 1,000% they have to be on this team. And I think, hey, whatever shakes out of all of these dudes, it's going to be good for us. It's going to be good for competition. It's going to be good for every part of the team. But yeah, the only one that I really saw any real like, oh, this is great was Joey Fisher. Like he's so fast and whatever. But yeah, that's the one that sticks out the most for me.
I find
why
it.
no love for Colton McKivitz?
It's because people haven't seen him play, and they're like, "Well, if he was so good, why didn't he beat out McGlinchey all these years?" And things like that. And it's typical 49er fandom. They want the big flashy guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's funny. I find it very interesting that it was all this talk of, they didn't draft a lineman. How did they get a lineman? And they brought in 4 undrafted free agent linemen. So they clearly liked some guys and want to have some competition along the line. And they brought some guys in, Fisher being the key guy that they picked up. So camp's going to be interesting. I can say that.
But I agree. They don't have to overpay for those guys. They don't have to draft them early on and give them big contracts. They're going to be able to get the same guys at the same level, bringing them into camp.
Yep.
But they obviously, they wanted to trade McGlinchey last year. So they obviously are very high on Colton McKivitz.
Yeah, because he would have been a replacement. They were willing to move on from McGlinchey and stick with McKivitz there. So they obviously think highly of him. They think he's capable of doing the job.
Yeah.
Right. Maddie, what do you think?
He's deep in thought again.
Uh-oh.
It's like the old man on the mountain contemplating his thoughts.
He's like,
he's thinking socks or underwear.
Poor Maddie.
I know, right? What do I want next winter? More socks?
That's like,
or more underwear?
what should I ask for Christmas next?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's only May, but wait.
All right. So I mentioned, McGlinchey, they wanted to trade McGlinchey, but what didn't happen is Trey Lance was not traded.
He was not.
As expected. And Brandon Ayuk was not traded.
Nope.
Maddie left us again.
He said trade talk.
Which kind of makes me think like what Steph Sanchez said when we had her on last week, that every year I think there's going to be someone whose name is going to pop up. Like last year was Debo.
Yeah.
This year was Trey and a little bit of Brandon. Next year could possibly be BA again.
But this year
what do you guys think?
In a unusual fashion, like it was not intentional. Like he thought his manager was talking trade, but it wasn't real. So I don't really count that one, but I do think they entertained talk about Trey and others because they said it. They said it out loud.
And the key thing there, though, is that they didn't make the calls.
Right.
They never put it out there. Remember, this was all media generated.
Well, I'm just saying,
It was all media generated.
John Lynch said we had conversations with Trey, that we have had conversations about trade.
Hold on. He said he had a conversation with him about the trade talk in the media.
Right, not that they were
that's
thinking of moving
all
him.
this trade talk out there. I've been a player. I understand how it is when you hear all that trade talk out there. So I sat down with him to address the trade talk that was out there.
Right.
That's what he said.
What he said.
In his next breath, he said, "We hadn't put it out there. We're not trying to trade him."
Right. So
this was all media driven.
The team addresses the trade talk, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I seem to think that they're very transparent, though.
They are.
anywhere
They're
with the
transparent
guys.
with their players.
Definitely have been with the team. Yeah.
I mean, even I'm sure John Lynch spoke with Javon Kinlaw and said, look, we're not picking up your 50-year option.
He said he said that.
Yeah. I mean, BA, we picked up his. I think he did it sooner than Monday because BA said on
they did both on
Instagram that he
Sunday.
got a call from his agent and he
Yeah.
thought he was traded and he was about to go break down some doors. And so I think that's
Yep.
why John Lynch pulled the trigger on draft day as opposed
Yep.
to waiting on Monday.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey restructured.
Yeah.
There's up $8 million in cap space. Are we bringing somebody in?
I don't think so.
I don't think
I
so
think-
at this point.
I think that's money for the future.
Yeah.
We've seen, unfortunately, this team has a lot of equipment malfunctions, and they need to bring in equipment from another team. I don't want to say the I word, people. Just stick with me on this one.
Yeah.
They need to bring in equipment from another team to help with those malfunctions to get through the season.
Right.
So you need money to make that happen. We didn't have any. So it's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's move something around. That way we have some buffer to get through the season. So I don't think they'll bring anyone in. They brought in a whole bunch of people. So Matty found that late night sale. He's out. Up in Maine, they got some outlets.
Oh, that's great.
Like, let's go, babe.
The man's ear, I'm telling you, it's key. It's clutch in your running game.
Terradome, I could see
Summer's coming, gotta
this.
get that
I
man
actually,
king.
I could go for Ngakwe. Oh, look, he's back from shopping.
Oh, hey. So
Couldn't find anything in my size.
How did bra shopping go?
Yeah. Some quick
Man's
shopping.
ear? Did you get a good man's ear for yourself? If not,
Man's
you
ear.
at least get some lingerie for your wife.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea, Terradome. Let's say 49er Empire is best. If we were NFL poverty like the Lions or Red Chickens, then there wouldn't be so much speculation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Yeah, I actually like Ngakwe though. I kind of hope that they bring him in, that they do something. Like Ty, I see your point, but I definitely hope they bring him in.
Leonard Floyd.
Maddie speaks.
Well, I figured I'd do it while I had connection. But yeah, I finally came back from the bra store. Nothing fit. Fun fact.
Did you find a man's ear that fit? Oh,
It's really too bad.
I'll hook you up with my people.
I have to come down to Jersey for a fitting.
Yes.
Fine.
Got people. I got a guy or a girl who's got a guy or a girl.
Perfect.
Looking at this team right now, do we have enough to win the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Yes, they have more than they had last year, and they should have won it last year. So I say yes.
Ty says yes.
Yeah. We should have won it the last 2 years. The only thing that stopped us is us.
Is us.
19, 21, 22, right?
There you go.
We had 4 years.
Definitely the
We have
league
more
last
than
year,
enough.
We should have won it. And I think, as highly graded as the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals drafts were, they're in rebuilding modes, and we are clearly head and shoulders above everyone else in the conference. And we are, the clear favorites. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people who are going to beat us. I think we win. I always think we win, but that's just me.
Yeah, I kind of think that too, but I think more so. I mean, exactly right. We should have won the past 2 seasons, but I think even more so now. I like Jake Brendel.
Yeah, I like Jake Brendel too.
Jake's decent. And
Who's
remember, it's
talking
just his
about
first
Jake
year
Brendel?
starting. He's basically was a rookie last year. with a year
Right.
under his belt,
Right.
he should be even better this season.
I think I would take Frank Clark too.
The thing is, those guys made 13, 16, $18 million.
Yeah.
We don't have that money unless they're willing
Right.
to take a pay cut,
Right.
you know?
That's our
I'm just thinking
problem.
of it from a financial standpoint. Like, we can't afford those guys based on what they've made in the past.
Right.
Mhm.
So June 10th, we're probably a little bit about over a month away from Brock Purdy starting to throw. A lot of people say, I hope he's not rushed back, and kind of get upset thinking that John and Kyle will rush him back. What do you think determines him being rushed back? Because I'm trying to understand this argument.
Philosophy.
If he gets hurt early,
I mean, I think the doctors have been very clear early on. Like, the healing process is finite. It takes this many weeks to heal. Beyond that, like the surgery part is done, the healing part is done. Whether he develops his muscle strength and his throwing skills back, that is a separate issue. But the healing process was very finite. They were very clear about that. So I think him being able to throw is kind of subjective. Like, he's going to be able to throw at the end of his healing period, and whether he is able to throw at his skill level prior to surgery versus previously is going to be about whether he's able to rebuild his muscles and do the things. So I think that's kind of the key thing. People are like, oh, don't rush him back. The healing period, they've been very clear about it. The healing period is this. That is done. Once the healing period is done, it's done. Whether you're able to regain your strength and your throwing and your motivation and whatever, that's on you, man. Like, that's on you. So I think the part that they don't want to say out loud is the healing part is done. Whether Brock Purdy's going to redevelop all of his skill and throwing and get the mental part out of his mind, that's a whole other part of the process that he has to go through. He's gonna be probably ready well ahead of whatever they're advertising. I just think it's a matter of, do they want him throwing in practice and pre-games and what have you? The timeline was very clear. It's short. It's finite. Whether or not they want to advertise that and whether they want to put him in front of people, a different conversation. But
You know what, too? He's been rehabbing. It's not like he's not doing anything.
yeah,
I mean, some people have said, like, if he does start week 1, that means they rushed him back. Which I don't know if I agree with that.
We gotta let the doctors determine this.
Yeah.
So David McNew is the only guy I know who's had an UCL injury like Brock. Like, he's the only fan that I know of that had this injury like him. So he's the only one that can speak from experience, like how it feels, how it blah blah blah. Everyone else is just speculating.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, David didn't play quarterback. So,
That's
even
true.
he doesn't know what it takes to heal and come back. I think the whole rushing part is that we know how anxious teams can get to get a player back on the field. And they tend to want to accelerate things and push it forward. We heard John Lynch say Brock could be back by OTAs. Really? That's not what the doctor said.
Yeah.
No,
So,
but
you see what I'm saying? So it's like that's with the fear that people get. And then you get into Maddie's position of something happens and you got to go back in for a second surgery. We definitely don't want that. We don't want any.
gotta get those screws out of there.
Hey,
risk re-injury or scar.
stop it.
Right?
Somebody cut his
Shake the
mic.
candles like dirt, please.
Cut Matt's. We'll have none of that talk about screws and secondary surgery. Cut Matt's mic. But no, tied to your point, I also feel like they try to downplay things. Because when we talked to the doctor, he's like, the healing will be done by this time. At that point, the healing is done. It's done.
Right.
Whatever happens after that is on the player. So I also feel like they don't want to advertise that, he's good to go. And we don't want to tell everybody like Brock.
There you go. Hey,
he's firing
speaking of devil.
He's good to go. It's like fire in the hole. Like, it's the sexy lingerie in your under the tree. Brock is ready. Like,
we should probably just rename this episode.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're just going to rename the episode and the title.
Hey, it's hot take. This is the hot.
But yeah, even though he's finished healing, he begins throwing.
We put a good.
He's not picking up a football and saying go deep right away.
Right.
Yeah. They don't want to advertise, I think, where
his throwing motion, doing things slowly, throwing against air, throwing a golf ball back and forth. And then you build up slowly. Like they will rehab him properly. We just don't need the team like, you threw that golf ball pretty well. Here's a football. Danny Gray, go deep. Hit him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We don't want that. You're not ready for that.
I think the team rightfully is taking a very conservative approach about what they release about his development and his rehab. You don't want the league to know that Brock Purdy is going to be your starter day one. You want them to think, well, now we have to prep for Sam Darnold. We have to prep for Trey Lance starting. We have to prep for all these guys. You don't want them to know. You don't want to give up your card.
It could be strategy.
Right? It could be strategy. But I also think it's going to be like, what if Brock Purdy starts to see ghosts? Suddenly he gets behind center and suddenly he's spooked like Jimmy Garoppolo used to get. You can see Jimmy sometimes after an injury, like he's throwing at no one because he's afraid of getting hit.
I also think that Brock is very chill.
Yeah,
he is
as well. So I don't really, even though he's like all these guys are competitors, like I don't see him even rushing himself back, in my opinion.
He didn't rush to have surgery. Remember?
True.
Like he's been smart. And strategic about this from the beginning, ever since he got injured.
So I will tell you, I had LASIK, and I work for a chemical company. We made all of the laser gas mixtures for the eye surgery lasers. So we got recommended to go to the top clinical trial doctors in the country, like the best LASIK surgeons that ever performed LASIK in the country. I walked in ready to get my eyes done, and the guy looked at me and he said, do you have allergies or something? Because your eyes are really irritated and swollen. Because I don't want to operate on your eyes today. I want you to go home for 2 weeks and put whatever stuff in your eyes. He would not operate on my eyes that day. Top clinical. He could have done my eyes. They were doing my eyes for free because we were their vendor. And the guy, literally, he walked out. He goes, all I know is Doug said, I need to take care of you people. And let's get started. And so he wouldn't operate on my eyes because he didn't like what he saw. He said, no, you're going to come back. You're going to come back in 2 weeks. And I did. I came back in 2 weeks and he said, we're going to wait another week. And I literally had to drive to the Bronx probably 12 times before I got my eyes off. I mean, I made, because when you get your eye surgery done, it's the day of the surgery. Well, it's multiple times for pre-op. then it's the day of, then it's the next day, then it's a week later, then it's 2 weeks later and a month later. So you're going back to your eye doctor a lot. So if a doctor who's conscientious and really, really cares about the patient, they're not going to operate on you. They're not going to do the job. I tell you, I had my LASIK done almost 20 years ago, and I still have 20/20 vision. He told me when I had it done, he goes, at your age, you might get this many years, and then you're going to need readers. You're probably going to need the read. I still to this day don't, but I think it's because he paid attention and took the time to recognize, like, you're unique. You need to not. So my friend was a smoker, and I went to her grand opening for her business, and all these people are smoking in her office. And literally the day before I went for my surgery, and I was like, my friend smokes, and I'm very sensitive to that. So it really, really had an impact on the health of my eyes. And when I went in, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do the surgery. And I appreciated that, because at the end of the day, when I did go get it, it's been the most amazing thing that I could have done. So I agree with Brock's surgeons. Like, if you really are a good surgeon and you're conscientious, you're not going to do surgery when you recognize that there's inflammation or a problem. So I think whatever outcome of Brock's surgery, it was the best for him and the best possible scenario. So yeah, I think he was in good hands, and the outcome is good for him. It's good for our team. It's going to be great for everyone, as long as mentally he's okay. Like, getting hit, having surgery, I don't know that he's ever had those kind of traumatic things happen. So we'll see how life goes.
Yeah,
moving forward, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and it helps the process too that he's at the facility. So
yeah,
he can have the best possible.
Huge.
Health.
Yeah.
Ask Aaron Rodgers about being around his team in the offseason, see if that makes any sort of difference.
Right. Mentally, it matters.
It does. Maddie, you want to talk about what you got going on next week?
Next week, of course, is the Golden Heart Fund fundraiser. The Dwight Clark Legacy Series happening at the California Theater in San Jose. So get your tickets if you haven't gotten those yet. But there should be a few folks there, including Coach Shanahan, allegedly. So I'll be there next week.
Yay!
See how that goes.
Well, if you run into him, tell him the
Right.
woman with
Looking forward to another
mini
season
face
of
shirt.
meeting him at the hotel. It'll be great.
Yes.
There's
Someone
no
might say
way he
hello.
doesn't know who Jess is.
exactly. Be
Correct.
on the lookout for
There's
Jess.
no way at all.
All right, guys. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's go that hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning.
Boom.
Yeah, Becca.
Hey, schedule release is coming soon. Can't wait to schedule all the trips to all the games, and hope to see everyone. And, look, all we do is give hot takes. So, hey, we're here. We love the Niners. That's all we do. And yes, like Matt said, go support the Niners. Go support the Niners Foundation and all the good things that they do in the world. And go Niners. Let's, get ready for the new season.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Bring me Leonard Floyd or bring me death. There's no comp picks. Nothing's going back to the Rams. Yannick Ngakoue has been through like 57 teams. Like, at this point, give me Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd doesn't miss football games. Leonard Floyd makes tackles, and Leonard Floyd can rush a quarterback. Bring me Leonard Floyd. Thank you and good day.
Go ahead, Ty.
Jake Moody, our highly recruited, drafted kicker from Michigan, wore number 13 in college. Shouldn't he wear number 13 in the pros? I think so. It's only right that he has it. So the guy who's wearing number 13 now, hand that number over. Give it to the guy that we all love and respect, and that is Jake Moody. Go Niners.
Guys, don't be so mad that we drafted a kicker. It will pay off.
You're going to wear number 13, too.
Who's going to wear number 13?
Next week, May 11th, schedule release. Can't wait. Go Niners. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Support the team, guys. Support each other. Let's go.
Our F grade is F everyone else.
That's right. F y'all.
And get your socks and underwear.
Right. Yeah.
Get your
Don't
socks
forget
and
your socks and
underwear.
underwear.
Say your prayers. Take your vitamins.
Get some sleep. Drink your water.
We love you. We're
Hi.
out.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.